this week's Parsha, Parsha's Terumah. It says in the beginning of the Parsha, "V'asel Migdash Kanti B'Seicham," should make me a Beis Hamikdash, a place where Hashem could live in it. And then it goes through and it says all the shrumois, everything that was needed for the Mishkan, and then Klal Yisrael came forth and gave all the necessary things that they needed in order to build the Mishkan. Now, this mitzvah of Asla Migdash Kanti B'Seicham, according to most Rishonim, is a mitzvah in the Beis Hamikdash, Mishkan, the Beis Hamikdash, Asla Migdash Kanti B'Seicham. There's a Zoya that says that Asla Migdash Kanti B'Seicham doesn't just refer to the Mishkan, the Beis Hamikdash. This is a chiyuv on every generation. Every generation is a chiyuv of Asla Migdash Kanti B'Seicham, meaning in every generation, every area needs its shul, and V'asel Migdash Kanti B'Seicham is a chiyuv that every person has to be mishtatif in the shul in his neighborhood.
You learn from that. You have to be a member of a shul.
Oh, that's to me today's topic.
Oh, yeah?
So, in the beginning of Hilchos Pesach Knesses, the Mechaber brings down Kaifim b'nei ir zeh zeh livnei Pesach Knesses. The people of the city could force each other to build the Beis Knesses. Lichtenstein, Torah, Nevi'im, Uksuvim. That's the Mechaber in the beginning of Hilchos Pesach Knesses, Siman Kuf Nun Sif Aleph. That the Bnei Ir could force each other to build a shul. Now, I mean, the Hakdama for the whole share is that today there's no such thing as forcing. We don't. It's not. There's no place. There's no community that people could enforce something. You try to enforce it, people fight back. Today it's impossible to kaifin. The Lashon kaifin was in those days when Bezdin had a certain yad on Klal Yisrael, and if you didn't listen, you put it to Cherim, or they gave you Malchus. So that's when it says kaifin. But today days where there is no Bezdin that could force like that, someone doesn't want to listen to Bezdin, the most they could do is put out equal against him, but not more than that. So the Lashon kaifin that we're going to use throughout the share, we're going to use it as, that's what you should do. Today we can't enforce it, but that's what everyone's chiyuv to do is kaifin zeh zeh, living in Pesach Knesses. Everyone in the community could force the other person to give money to pay for a shul.
Yeah, and if a person doesn't, they can stop them from being members. They have the right to not give aliyahs, stuff like that, right?
No. I don't know if that's true. That's why I started saying. Today, there's no such thing as kaifin. Today, since Bezdin doesn't have the tkifas to do anything today, and everyone listens to Bezdin, so a guy goes into a shul, and he's not a member, you're not going to give him an aliyah, because they didn't pay membership, all you're doing basically is starting a fight. Basically starting a fight.
The office is right there.
No,
that's basically what's happening. I mean, the kaifin means that if everyone has to listen to Bezdin, you can force.
They're not starting a fight. People know the rules.
There's a thing with that.
1 second. There's a rule
based on if the guy comes every single week and not just comes once in a blue moon.
If he doesn't pay membership, he doesn't get
a guy who comes once in a blue moon, they won't
be a friend of yours, and if they get aliyah, that's not true. If a guy comes here from
they don't.
If a guy comes once a year, he can't.
You didn't say once. You said once in a blue moon.
Once in a blue moon.
So a person, if the shul has its policies of something else, I'm not getting involved.
Every shul has that policy.
But a guy comes and the shul doesn't have policies, he's not getting aliyah because he's not a member. Pay membership. Basically, just starting a fight. There's a policy in the shul. It's something else. The shul can enforce whatever they want.
Right.
But that's the halacha of kaifin b'nei ir zeh zeh, living in the Beis Knesses. Everyone is forced you could force each other to go ahead and build the Beis Knesses. Now, this includes not just the Beis Knesses, says the Bir halacha. This includes even a Beis Medrash, a place you have to learn. Also, you could force people to be mishtatef in it. But here it's interesting. There's different halachas of how you enforce how much a person has to pay. So we'll get to the upkeep soon. Now we're talking about the building in the beginning, the building campaign. So says the Bishop Rabbi now because of Paiskim, the binyan Beis Knesses goivin lefi mama lechuda. When you build a shul, you goiva the amount you take from people is how much money they have. It doesn't go per head. You can't say each person has to give $1,000 towards the building campaign. It depends how much money the person has, and you take a percentage of his money towards the binyan of the Beis HaKnesses.
But we don't do that today.
That's halacha, so you should do.
No, who does that?
Some places do it. You have to bring your income and just
No, he's talking about to pay towards the building.
The building of the Beis
Not
HaKnesses.
to see every year. It's to build the shul.
To build the shul goes, the halacha is the building of the shul goes, the fee,
Your income.
how much money a person has. Some people say it's not fair, just because I make some extra money, why do I have to go ahead and put more money towards the shul? You're using the shul the same way I'm using the shul. So I have to make more money, so I'm required to give more money towards the building of the shul more than anybody else. So people come with this taina, that why should they have to give more because they make more money? I always give them the same answer. Did you ever try telling that to the CRA? Right? You pay taxes on for the streets and everything,
these
right?
These guys, the more they make, the less taxes they pay.
Less they pay.
Yeah.
Taxes of the government, right, goes according to your income. The more income you make, the more taxes you have to pay. What's the taxes used for? The upkeep of the city. And there everyone's okay. You know, if you make money, I understand they have to pay more income tax.
They're not okay, they just do it.
They do it. Yeah.
They try to avoid it just the same way.
Right.
Coughing.
But
Like human coughing or something.
But you
So,
see the
yeah.
results.
The government
You see
forced
results.
it.
They pay the tax, but you see the
you see the results. Yeah. Yeah. So same thing is but in the Kaif and the Beis HaKnesses, it's not just the Beis HaKnesses, there's other things in the city also. It's basically a tax. You have to have a shul. How do you pay for the shul? It's a tax, an income tax. Same way you pay income taxes to the government, you have to pay income taxes to the Jewish things they need in the shul, in the community. But it says interesting halacha, b'schiras Beis HaKnesses, when it comes time to renting. Let's say that people can't afford to build a shul. So they're renting a place for the shul. So there he says, Goivin chetzer lefi mamon, v'chetzer lefi nefashos. There it depends. If you're renting a shul, there you pay half of it, you pay according to how much money the person has, and half of the expense, you pay according to the amount of people you have in your family that use the shul. That's by renting.
But no one does this stuff today.
You don't know.
You're saying we should-
in the neighborhood.
This is
No,
the...
but and no shuls in Toronto do that.
Because today there's no such thing as koifin. There's no such thing as people,
I'm
when they
saying.
build a shul, there's no such thing as koifin. If you want to know how much you should be paying for a shul,
Right.
when they're building it, you shouldn't say a person has a lot of money. You shouldn't say, I'm going to give as much as everybody else gives. Just because I have more money, I have to give more, I don't have to give more. Ted says, yes, you do have to give more, because that's the halacha. The building of a shul goes lefi mamon. The renting of a shul, and the same thing would be with the upkeep of the shul, that's something else. Upkeep of the shul says, it's chatzer lefi mamon, v'chatzer lefi nefashos. That's the halacha here. So,
Is this also started in Gemara or is it?
this is not a Gemara, it starts with the Sefta. It starts from the Sefta, they're trying to bring it down. It's not a Gemara. This Kaifin, they force everybody to give money towards the shul, it's not a Gemara.
I mean, Eretz Yisrael, they keep this like this? I mean,
You said,
No, in certain communities,
there are communities around in the world that
I don't
do
know, I'm not sure. I don't know. That's not halacha. They said today the problem is you can't force anybody to do anything. Today you can't force anybody to do anything. There's no Kaifin. If you want to know what the right thing to do is, that's what this halacha is. I'll give you another thing. It says about Mishra brings it right afterwards. We'll go into a little more later on. It says Kosav Mochen Avram, Shem Rivosh, Hama'akiv Livnois Beis HaKnesses. If someone stops people from building a shul in the neighborhood, Afilu Yesh Beis HaKnesses Acheres Be'ir, we'll see why in a second. When Nehu Rabba Malasas Mitzvah, he's holding back the people from doing a mitzvah. And the Rishonim say not nice Rishonim about such people. They want to build a shul in the neighborhood, and a lot of times there are people that don't want to do it, across the street from the house.
takes down the blind.
Right? The parking is going to... So, I'm not saying always you ignore the people, but to be ma'akiv a place to build a Beis HaKnesses, it's a lot of bad things are said about it.
Does that apply also to renovate the shul and make it bigger?
Yeah,
The
same
idea?
thing. Same idea. We'll see in a second with the renovation. In renovations, it says that if the shul is small,
Right.
and you want to renovate, the question is, could you force everybody, kaifin, also to give the same amount? of the Eitzvah to Machlokes. Because some of the Achrayim say, a person could say, for me, I'm happy with the way it is. It's a little squishy, so it's squash. I don't mind. You want to make it fancier? I'm fine with the way it is. You can't force somebody to make it fancier. You can force somebody to build a shul to have the necessity of a shul. But if you want to renovate, you want to make it much nicer and bigger, and the person says, for me it's enough, sadly I'm welcome, he could say, for me it's good enough, I don't need more, so you can't force him then. But to build a shul lechatchila, then you could force. But people who stop people from building a shul, whatever the excuses are, on that, some not nice things are said.
Probably, something like that.
So, I'm just going to tell you, before we go into the details here of the halachas, there's a mice with the Chafetz Chaim. I have just come across it today. There's a mice with the Chafetz Chaim, when the Chafetz Chaim was building his yeshiva. So he had his yeshiva in Radin, and then he outgrew the building. So he had to build a bigger building. So he made an appeal in Radin, and he said, everybody should come forth, please, and should give money towards the new building of the yeshiva. So people started coming and being allowed the money for the yeshiva. There was one person who lived in a city outside of Radin. His name was Rav Moshe. Doesn't say his last name. And this Rav Moshe comes to the Chafetz Chaim, and he says to him, he was an Adam who was a lot of money, but he had no kids. So he went to the Chafetz Chaim and he told the Chafetz Chaim that he wants to pay for the whole building. Because, yeah, he wants his name, yeah. He wants to pay for the whole building, and it says, Kol ha-Malamed es ben Chaver Torah Kilu Yoldoi. He has no kids, so he wants to have the schus of the building that it's like he was Malamed them Torah, so he wants that like to be his children, and therefore he wants to pay for the whole building. So the Chafetz Chaim thought, and then he says, I'm not masking. I can't. He says, why? He says, I gave other people the right to be mishtatif into building the building. Now I'm going to take it away from them.
Right.
Only you should have the schus. I can't let you pay for the whole building. So he told him. So Moshe wasn't happy, and he says, listen, I want to pay for the whole thing. I want to take you to Din Torah. Can you imagine? Today you should have that. I want to take you to Din Torah. So they went to Din Torah to Reb Chaim Oizer. And Reb Chaim Oizer listened to both Tzadim, and he passed, and he said, since the Chafetz Chaim made an appeal that anybody wants to come forth and give, so he's coming forth and he's giving. He's allowed to give, but Chafetz Chaim has a good point. You can't take this schus away from other people.
Taking money also.
So he said let him give money, and the Mizrach wall of the yeshiva will say his name on it, and that was the pshara he made. And that's what happened. Then they left Reb Chaim Oizer. So the Moshe turned to the Chafetz Chaim on the way back, and he says to him, I want a bracha from you, that because I'm giving so much money to the yeshiva. The Chafetz Chaim says, I'll give you a bracha, that as long as I live, you should live. That was the bracha he gave.
How old was Rabbi?
This person was older than the Chafetz Chaim by a nice couple of years. Doesn't say how much.
That's a good bracha.
So the Chafetz Chaim lived in his 90s. 93. And this person was older than the Chafetz Chaim. A few days after the Chafetz Chaim was nifta, this person was nifta. That's what it says in the story. A few days after the Chafetz Chaim was nifta, this person was nifta.
Happy ending.
You see, there's a schus. Give to. They say it's from here in Toronto. I don't know if you know the story. They say I have to check into it. This would be of Ginsburg in Israel.
Yeah.
You know who he is?
Yeah, sure.
So he lost his wife like 15 years ago, maybe. You heard the story?
I don't know what story you...
I heard the story that of Ginsburg once after the play Menachem became Rebbe. Yeah. Menachem was the Ger Rebbe. Right. He was a very short time, for like 2 years only. So Ginsburg's wife got sick, and they went to the play Menachem for a bracha. And the play Menachem told her, I can only take a chrayas as long as I live. That's what he told her. The play Menachem was lifted very young, and suddenly there's Matzah Purim. There's a Matzah Purim in Yerushalayim, and it was by Tish, and then the next morning he just didn't wake up. And she was nifted the same night. Was she nifted right after Purim?
I remember.
Yeah. So they said that the Pnei Menachem said, this is the story I heard that he said that as long as I live I can take a chrayas. He was nifted Matzah Purim, she was nifted a couple of hours later. So a similar story.
There you go.
But I just saw Chavis Chaim. You see, there's a schus for people to give towards the building of a Beit Knesset. It's a big schus. Shouldn't push it aside.
We should have them for you. You're taking the Harayas for lunch. So just 120.
Amen.
80. 180.
180?
Okay. That's the Baruch.
So now the big question starts. You have a Beit Knesset in the city, and you have one. So if you need more room, so add to it. Who says you have the right to go and build a second one? You want to build the second one, can you go ahead and charge people for the second one, or not? When do you say it's necessary to have two or not?
They had the whole time was with Beis Yaakov down there, right? Both Beis Yaakovs, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Same time we have to build. That's the same idea, no?
Same idea, yeah. But there wasn't a kaifin.
Wasn't what?
It wasn't a kaifin.
Yeah.
The other question was, do you have a right to open another school? No one says you don't have a right to open another school. The question is, are you kaifin? Did you make people pay for when you open another school? So essentially, Moshe has a tshuva that it seems like in Scranton there were a few shuls in the year of Tafshin Chav Gimel, that's a couple of years ago, and they wanted to put all the shuls together. And it sent to the Moshe Shaila if they should build one big shul for all of them, because then you have Rav Am Hadras Melech. So the Moshe said, very, very sharp, Moshe. He said, this is they want to take all the shuls together, make them in one shul in Scranton, make one big one. He says, well, Rakatzasa Yetzer. This is the Yetzirah speaking. And you shouldn't do it. Why? He says, the reason why you're doing it is that the reform of the conservative eventually are going to want to take over the whole thing, and they're going to want the Orthodox not to have a shul. That's what he said. And this is a Gam Tekif. Right away, Kivin Sheyir, Gadol Yetzim Midai, it's going to be too big. Yitzu Lahamid microphone, the Shmoya Tfilis, by Chazan. They want to put in a microphone, it'll be so big, and then you can run into problems and leave it. You shouldn't join together. Everyone should keep their own shul separately. That's what it says over there. Then he says, but you should know, even in a place where you're not worried about this, and you have a few shuls together, a few separate shuls, says there's no Indian to go ahead and join them together. So he's talking about joining them together. We'll speak in a second about separating. But he says there's no Indian to join them together. You have Barav Am Hadras Melech. You should make all the shuls into one big shul. You have Barav Am. So he says Barav Am is only when you have it and you want to separate it. But to go ahead and bring everybody together, there's no chiyuv. And he says, V'atam Pashut Mishum Diyesh Maila Ba'oid Beis HaKnesses. There's a Maila in more than one Beis HaKnesses. Why? Le'elu she'rechoykim Beis HaKnesses Rishon. Some people are further away from the Beis HaKnesses, the first one, and it's be hard for them to walk. If you make one big one, it's be hard for them to walk. So as much if you're going to stop one person, who you make one big Beis HaKnesses in the city, and everyone should come to that one place, you're going to stop one person who is far from him, and he's going to say, you know what? It's a cold Friday night, and I'm not going to go to shul. I'm going to stay home. Because you're going to stop people from saying Kaddish and Kedusha. The whole thing wasn't Kedai. Says the whole thing wasn't Kedai.
Also, sometimes people are not happy with a certain shul.
I'll get to that in a second.
There's always one you don't go to.
No, but if you have more than one.
Very good. I was going to say that. You got me ice. You need two because you have to be in fact with one. We'll get to that in a second.
You need 3 Jews and 4 shuls. Just in case you both argue, you have enough.
So the Moshe says that it's a mila. The Moshe says it's a mila to have different more than one shul in areas, because practically, if people could walk to the shul, they'll come more often. But every time you want to go to shul, it's a 10-15 minute walk, and you may stay home. Then you're stopping a person from Kaddish to Kedusha. Therefore, it's good to have more than one Batek and Yisias in the city, so it's close to everybody. I know in New York and Baruch, they're very, very makpid on that. Every 2 feet there's another shul. But the question is, there's got to be a happy medium. Right? This is a gray area. When do you split and when do you keep together? But there definitely is a matter. You can't say every community should only have one shul and everyone should come to that one shul. The Moshe says, for this practical reason, you should have more than one shul. But then he also brings down a famous tshuva from the Rivah to all the places can bring down. The Rizvaz, I mean. So it says like this. Hamaachiv luz Beis HaKnesses afil yesh Beis HaKnesses acher be'er Meinehu Rav Manas Mitzvah U'Masak Sham Di Ma Beis HaKnesses Mechila Isam has enough room for everybody. Oz Adu Rabba Asurim Li Parade. You're not allowed to separate. If the shul is big enough for everybody, you're not allowed to separate. V'ayim Meshuvas V'Advaz Sheherech V'Dinim Elu U'B'Seiv Dvar of Kasa. So like there's a whole there. Bizman Shekulam Leiv Echad. Whenever in the shul is Leiv Echad, they agree and everything. Hu Shekilusam Oili Yafa. That's when there's a bunch of people together. It's Oili Yafa. Aval Chalak Libam. If they don't have the same views, right? Everyone has different shittas. Yoisir Toiv Hu Sheispalu Kol Kat B'Fnei Atzma. Then it's better that everybody should daven on their own. Should have their own shul. Question: what does this mean? So it's partial. It's Sfarad and Ashkenaz. Of course, you should have separate shuls, right? Don't say like one big shul and like a pshar all daven. Someone likes to daven Sfarad, someone davens Ashkenaz. Sure, you should have two separate shuls. Person who davens Ashkenaz and a Sfarad shul is out of place.
In Eretz Yisrael, I'm sure you're aware of it, that when you go up to the, what do you call it, the dilemma, either Shaliach Tzibur, you have the choice what you want to do.
Some places.
Sfarad
Not
Ashkenaz?
everywhere.
Not
Not everywhere.
The steeples are okay.
Just
not,
some
not the
shuls.
regular
All
shuls.
regular shul.
Really? Regular
Yeah.
shuls?
And you know, like they have those plaques, yellow, yellow,
Yeah.
you know that?
Yeah.
They put in Ashkenaz, Sfarad,
Really?
right, whatever the guys are.
Like steeple.
No.
Every
What's the
shul-
one way
every-
backwards
every-
another
Like steeples
Every
maybe.
shul?
Not every
A
shul.
shul.
No way. No, I was there.
No.
Not- There might be a shul like that, but not every
Well,
shul.
not
No, there's plenty of
every.
places.
But a lot of
I know there's
places-
plenty of places like that.
It's becoming
All
more
their
and more.
all their steeples are
Plenty
okay.
of places like that where you just go up.
But I don't know if that's a
and-
mila. I don't know if that's a mila. The person says, no, I'm coming into the shul, I'm going to daven my nusach. I don't have to come into shul, and today maybe Ashkenaz, tomorrow maybe Sfarad.
No.
No, for the
This is
shul.
done because he himself.
No, I'm saying a person not Shleich Tzibur. A person is coming into shul.
You daven your own
He
nusach?
should know. He
What's
should-
the problem?
No,
I
he
do
went.
my nusach and you do...
No, but
separate.
I like to go to shul that they say daven Sfarad.
So then go. It's a
So
free
during the
country.
week it's not a problem. Shabbos,
So you're fine. There's plenty of shuls around.
But I'm saying that the shuls you never know what the Shleich Tzibur is davening.
No, but they have 10 minyanim. It's not just 1 minyan. there.
So you got to find the
You got to
minyan.
find the right minyan.
That makes it an ikvius. It makes it an ikvius. You don't have a kvius where you're davening. The best thing is to have a kvius.
Yeah.
I heard a word from Rabbi Adler, from Menachem Adler, from down south. So he once said, it says in Gemara Brachos, Kol kavei mokom l'tfilasai, v'lakei Avram be'ezroi, and they say to him, Hai onav, Hai shafal. So he says, because someone's kavei mokom for his tefillah, so why does he become an onav and a shafal? He's kavei mokom, so why does he become an onav? What does that do with anivis? So he said, any person who davens in the shul, something bothers. Every shul you go to, there's always something that can bother you. You don't like this, you don't like that, right? So a person who's running around from shul to shul, why is he running around from shul to shul? Because everything bothers him. He's blaming it on the shul. This shul's no good. This shul's no good. Yeah. In the meantime, it's your problem.
Yeah.
Don't let every little thing bother you, and then you'll settle on the shul. So a person who settles on the shul and stays at one place, he's high honor, high shuffle, because it shows that he doesn't blame it on himself. He doesn't blame it on the shul. He blames it on himself. Nothing's bothering you. It shouldn't bother you. Leave it.
Unless he's the president.
Yeah.
Or giving a large donation. Or if he's giving a large donation.
Yeah, okay, then how much? You speak about it. If a guy gives a large amount of let's say more of a day in the shul or not. So says the Radvaz. Now this time we say everyone should daven together in one shul. It shouldn't split. There's only if they have leivechad, they have the same shit. But if there's fighting going on in the shul, and some people want one way, some people want the other way, and they can't get together, then they should split. But then he says, "V'lo tita b'dvari." Don't make a mistake in my words. Lo ymer to say, "Shani sever shechaluka toiv v'chas v'shalom." I'm not saying that machlokes is good, and therefore you should split up. Ta'kroksiv chibur atzavim afraim hanachloi cholak libam ata yeshamur. Cholak libam, you separate the hearts. Now it's an avera. Everyone should try. Everyone should try. There should be leiv echad avim sheb'shamayim. We should try. Everyone should see the same, be on the same page. V'miyefshir al shatamid hem iskoitetim. They're constantly fighting. V'hem b'machlekes. Then dacha rabbi miyutoi. you ruin the whole thing, you get rid of the Ra, you separate, and you each have your own minion. That's what he says. So when there's reasons to have, some place says Yetris, one place doesn't say Yetris, right? So a lot of people like to say Yetris. Well, a lot. Some people. A lot of people don't like to say Yetris, right? So there's machlokes in the shul, right? They say Yetris or not. So a person who doesn't like to say Yetris, and then every time, especially these weeks, if there's long Yetris that bothers him, so he's going to get upset. So go to shul and open a place. It doesn't say, it's an example. They have other examples also. So it says there, everyone should try to have Lev Echad. Everyone should try to make sure to get along. If you see you're not getting along, then Adarabah. It's better you should separate and open up your own shul. Now, this is a very, very, unclear, where the line is. When do you say you have a right to have a machlokes about open up and when not? That's, everyone has to use their own hashara. And then he says, here's another question. They built the Beis HaKnesses in the city. They built one shul. And everybody chipped in for the shul. What happened was, after a while, they realized that they don't have Lev Echad. That there's different shittas. So, and they have a right to go ahead and break off, open a new shul. So these people are going to break off and open a new shul, but they're saying, we gave money to the shul, for the original shul, so we want to take stuff with us. Do they have a right to do that or not?
No, now that has changed the sheet of the shul. Let's say when you pay for it, it was an Ashkenaz shul, so now they want to make it smart.
So, that's a very good example. So, the truth is, usually you have to know, you have a right to break off. But let's say people pay for a shul, and a shul daven's fine. And then the shul wants to change to Ashkenaz. Right? The shul wants to change to Ashkenaz. There's a group of 100 people in the shul, and 25 of the people want to stay Sfarad, not Ashkenaz. The halacha is you have to compensate them. You can't just say, Roiv went ahead, 75% say they want Ashkenaz, 25% say they want Sfarad, we're doing Ashkenaz now. And therefore, the other 25, we can ignore them. You can't do that.
How do you give money?
But when you give money to a shul, you've given it. It's not to say you've not bought a share.
No, you've given money to the shul for you to daven in.
Yes.
And if they're changing...
Yeah, but that's it. It's done now. You've given it.
No, if they're changing, then you have a right to the shul also. Yeah. You have a right to the shul.
In other words, you bought a share.
Yeah, you bought a share in the shul.
There's schools in town that people get money.
How would that end? Can the grandson come along and say, no, I disagree with you?
No, I don't have the grandson. No, the person who pays for himself.
And that person, you give money to a shul.
The person who gives money to a shul.
You've got a...
You got a chelik in that shul.
You've got a vote. You've got a vote.
Yeah.
But do you actually...
You have a certain chelik. If they change something in the shul, then you have a right to be teveya.
Yes. But you can't say, I want to withdraw my money.
No. So then they're forcing you to split up. Then they're forcing you to split up. If they force you to split up, you have a right to take with you.
But then you must sell the place and make it back into cash again.
Either that, or they pay you out.
Or they pay you out.
Or they pay you out.
All right.
You can't go ahead and say, we vote, the shul wants a certain thing, and then whoever the miyot is in the spot. It doesn't work that way.
So how do these schools do what they did? They had a shita, and they changed the shita, and then thank you very much. But meanwhile, people gave money towards the old shita.
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. That's a good question.
We're very unhappy about it.
He says this is what the verse says. He says,
I've also got a problem. You gave tzedakah really. You didn't buy an investment into an establishment.
No, it's
institutional.
No, it's not.
You gave tzedakah.
It's not true. It's not called tzedakah. It's not called tzedakah. Kaifin.
It's
forced. No, membership is something else. Membership is for the upkeep.
With the building.
Upkeep, yeah.
I'm talking about the building fund. I'm talking about the building fund. The actual building fund, when they pay for a building fund, so the Vaz brings down, for the very Yitzchak, he says, they want to take some Sfarim with them. They want to take the what's called again, the title with them. Can they do it or not? They're allowed to go ahead and do it. So they're allowed to go ahead and be Teveyat if they want. They have full right to be Teveyat. But this is only in the case where they have a reason where they're saying why they want to split off is a good reason. I'm not talking about all the petty fights. That we're not getting involved in that. The petty fights that they have in shuls that people want to break off, forget about that. That's something that's usher, and there's no heter for it. I'm talking about reasons, good reasons. Ashkenaz and Sfarad is a very valid reason, very valid difference. Someone who came to shul and they paid for it in Masking the Tzadam and Sfarad, they want to change to Ashkenaz. You can't just ignore the people and say, what do you mean? You're going to vote. Most people want Ashkenaz now. You can't do that. You can't ignore the people who gave money to the shul and say, now the Rov wants something else. You have to deal with them. And this is only because, if it's tzedakah, then it's something else. Tzedakah is a whole different thing. For example, the halacha by tzedakah is, right, they go around collecting. It's a very common shayla. They go around collecting tzedakah for a certain thing, for a certain tzarech. They collect money, and they got much more than they needed. So now it's extra money. What do they do with the extra money? They have to go return it? They're collecting for a certain person who needs money. So, and I gave that tzedakah, I gave it for a certain thing. Right? Could they go ahead now and use it for something else? So, look at the gabbai tzedakah, when they give the money to the gabbai tzedakah, it's automatically, even though they're giving for a certain thing, if there's leftovers, the gabbai tzedakah use it what they want. It's something else. That's when they get tzedakah. But again, by building a shul, we don't say that. By building a shul, we don't say that. If they go ahead and they force people to give money to build a shul, and they collect more than they needed, right? What's the halacha over there? You have to give the money back. You gotta go use the money for something else.
How about if someone, let's say, bought the social hall, right? And then 10 years later, they're doing a renovation, and they're raising money to build a bigger social hall, and your name is going to be Goodbye Charlie. Can they do that?
Yes, it's something else. It's a whole different child. When someone gives money to Aron Kodesh, let's say, this is a common child. I know we had it.
All the time.
I grew up, they had it. Someone gave a lot of money. It was a large sum of money to build an Aron Kodesh. It's a very nice Aron Kodesh. His name was Aron Kodesh. They renovated the whole shul. They made it much, much nicer. Beautiful Aron Kodesh.
And they're selling it. They're selling the new Aron Kodesh.
Yeah, it's on the Aron Kodesh. What happened to that money? You know? So the question is, how long do you have to keep the Aron Kodesh? The guy gives money towards the Aron Kodesh. How long does that last for? Does it mean it's forever? So the shul can never make a new Aron Kodesh? Well, no, you bought the schus, so it's old enough that they have to replace it. Then you get that gets very sticky. Because some people can say, what do you mean? It's still nice. Just because now, I remember the shul I davened, I don't want to say the name of the shul, but it was a nice shul.
Well, we know where you davened, so.
No, I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
It's a nice shul. It's a very nice shul. And someone moved into the neighborhood, and he decided that he wants to redo the whole shul, and he did a beautiful job. He redid the whole shul. It's a beautiful shul. Some of the old timers had tightness. You know, I gave money for the Aron Kodesh. His name was always on top of it. And it cost him, I think it was like $25,000. And now the new Aron Kodesh is like $250,000.
His name's not there.
His name's not there. He said, I'm fine with the old one. I'm fine with the old one. Well, right, you have to know. Because one guy decides he wants to make a whole new shul and to put money together, you have a right to throw out my name. How can you do that? What
they should have done is give him the first right to
yeah, but he couldn't afford that. How $250,000 was it ever was?
Put it in the back.
Yeah, some people, put, a remembrance, but it's
the chula.
I still have it. My father had a story. He was building his shul. We have time, or?
You got 3 minutes.
Couple minutes.
My father was
4 minutes. 4 minutes.
My father was building his shul. So they were putting in a new Aron Kodesh. Very nice Aron Kodesh. And I think it was like $45,000 Aron Kodesh. So they put it out. Who wants to pay for it? So the guy came over and says he'll pay for it, Aron Kodesh. Whole thing, $45,000 on one condition. I sure he gives a shir every night in the shul.
Say what?
He gives a shir every night in the shul. Says if the shir every night is a zeich nishmas my father. So he said, I said, let me check into it. He wants it forever. The shir should always be a zeich nishmas his father. So Hashem is very close to Rabbi Kanievsky. He went to him, and he asked him the Shaila, and he says, you're not Shabbat yourself for life. Don't. He doesn't want, if he wants to give the shir forever, no. He goes back to the guy and says, no deal, I can't do it. He says, okay, I'll do it for a couple of years. So he goes back to Rabbi Chaim. And Rabbi Chaim says, don't do it.
Really? Even for a few
Said,
years?
if he said, don't do it. Once you get on Kodesh, don't say that the share is going to be with Zechariah Moshe. Don't do it. I told him no, the guy walked away. A week later, another guy came over and paid the whole thing without any to him. Give it checks, right away, no. So that's my name on it, everyone just give the whole thing. That's a posture that if someone gives money, that means Meshubah to the person forever.